Greetings and salutations, friends. Character NPC back again for an addendum to that last stream that I did with the final solo Dungeon Master preparations that need to be done before really starting any kind of adventure. I think the last video covered pretty well what needs to be done for any kind of solo first edition, what I'm calling, close enough to rules as written for me. Your mileage may vary. However, there are a couple of items that I did not cover. A couple of points, maybe not items, a couple of points that I did not cover in the last video that are relevant to my campaign and what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put out this addendum to clear the air, full transparency, and explain how an item that might not be considered rule as written is included. So see, dear friends, the Tome of Adventure Design by Matt Finch and Mythmere Games is included. And I mentioned this in one of my previous videos in the past, but I assume nobody's actually watching those. So I'm just going to cover it here to be completely transparent in what's going on. When I say rules as written, I kind of talked a little bit about what that meant to me, and that was that the three basic books, Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, and Dungeon Master's Guide, were the core rules. And beyond that, for me, it was what made sense to be included as a source to be used, because even adding sources it can add complexity if you think about it and what you're doing and how procrastination creeps up on you, and effort. I talked about level of effort in my first video as well, from the DM perspective. Actually, that I think when sitting around a table, level of effort plays into both the DM and the player character, to be honest. I do really believe that. Level of effort is so important in any game. Anyway, so what is this about? What is this appendix you speak of? Well, there are things that just happen in adventuring that can be strung together and make some really exquisite role play if you allow it to happen. But it's nice to have a reason for it to happen and not be your own. You may already know you're going into, pick one, the Palace of the Silver Princess or the Village of Hamlet, or blah blah blah. It doesn't really matter. Or go into the back of the DM's guide for the the most popular solo first edition AD&D content, which is the kind of a dungeon crawl, right? Random dungeon tables. You can do that. But it's nice to have things that come together, contribute to each other, and put a storyline together. And that doesn't really contribute to metagaming as I see it. What I mean by that is, you're using the three core books to move forward in what's happening in the timeline, because, keeping track of time and other points is quite a bit of the game, because there's resource constraints and things like that, right? But that missing piece is like, the rumors tables aren't going to cover everything, and this will give a higher level plot line to string those things that happen naturally through the flow of adventure, is what I'm seeking out. We'll see how this plays out. Again, this is all about playtesting and having fun and getting back into first edition. But, it may turn out that through a few rolls from here on these tables, it turns out that the antagonist is, something completely unexpected, but lends itself to what rumors and adventuring timeline takes place on the smaller time scale. Right? If you don't know anything about the Tome of Adventure Design, I haven't really used it myself very much, but I know how it works. Basically, you have all these different tables that follow a sequence of adventure design with backstory and location and opposition and variation of change. All these aspects to what an adventure is kind of fills in these puzzle pieces as they're laid out. I think you can see that even though there's a bit of glare. Right? There's backstory and location and exploration that gets done because we're solo adventurers. There's options and, there's all kinds of different things and aspects to what that is. And the method of using this book and these tables gives some options for how a storyline progresses and who the antagonists and maybe matriarchs and patriarchs, or here's villains and plans, and there's a lot of content here. And if you use it to suit your needs, it's portions of tables that are actually used to create quite a bit of variation and meat to encounters, or strings of encounters, strings of rumors that are happening. You might get a rumor and not know really what it's all about, and the Tome of Adventure Design in those tables will help in providing the spider's web of why it's all happening in time and roleplay. So this is that one, gorilla in the room or elephant in the room, as the inflection goes, that is not TSR or D&D or anything, but after a lot of research and looking at how it works, this is the kind of thing that really can, I think, provide reason for and behind it all, and give role-playing aspects to a solo game that limits the metagaming as much as possible. So that's it. One other aspect, though, that I didn't cover was, or another aspect, I should say, that I didn't cover, I seem to be consistently hitting the microphone in every stream. So, yay me for consistency. Okay. What I wanted to demonstrate, though, is one other aspect is using miniatures. I didn't cover that last time, but it's not really so relevant. I just wanted to include it as an appendix since that last video was going so long. So I should be able to use miniature combat, which I think will really help. I can go back and forth between the views, but having somewhat of a map, even though it's not all that large, defining an area as going into a space will really, I think, help define from a roleplay perspective how things are playing out. It will be much more exciting. Yeah, so I think this will work out. We'll be able to draw on this map. It'll take a little effort to get everything cleaned up between encounters, but like I say, this isn't going to be a fast game. You really kind of have to let things play out. And, you know, if you were at your buddy's house eating pizza, and I like Dr. Pepper. We drank a lot of Dr. Pepper as kids. So, you know, that's just the way it was. But it would be a not so fast game, and you'd forget a lot of things, especially as you got to your teen years and you started, you know, investigating things, discovering new things. I think overall, though, this will work out. I don't think it'll be too difficult. I think the worst part about it will be dealing with the paper for some of these things. You know, putting one mat on top of another, or should I remove it and move it all the time? It's, you know, we'll see how that all plays out. But having the party be able to say, yes, we're fighting these 5 goblins, and they start out, you know, 60 feet away from us. That's 60 feet right there. You know, maybe they're like this. That's the beginning of the encounter. It'll be much easier to say, yes, he moves up and fires, and who is in view, who can use missile weapons, what's happening with the thief trying to sneak up and maybe backstab, and who's charging. So I'll be using coins for the monsters for the most part. Of course, you can use, you know, bigger coins. These might be ogres and these might be orcs, and, you know, maybe these are the goblins. Maybe these are an ogre. An ogre and some hobgoblins. some orcs. You know, whatever the situation might be, a stack of coins available will be enough to designate who is what, where we are on the, battle space. You'd say this was a very important tactical aspect of first edition AD&D. At least it was in my mind, let's just say. I mean, because you don't have backstab and stuff if you're not really paying attention to distance over time. Are you encumbered? That has an effect on your dexterity and your ability to do things and stuff. So it all comes together by defining these rule sets and how you'll work through play, because you just don't have enough miniatures, and some people never use miniatures in the first place and would just talk it out, kind of role play it out. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it. That really covers everything. I really wanted to make sure that I got out there that there was content that I just don't think is so ultimately relevant to the metagaming aspect that is also not TSR. It's not kind of original nostalgia content that I wanted to play with, and how rules is written works and everything. You don't have to be such a stick in the mud, to say rules is written, per se. So, can't wait to see how some of those Tome of Adventure Design storylines play out, how some of those threads draw out, and see, how does it all come together. It'll be really cool. So with that, I'll leave it there. Thank you for hanging out this long if you're watching this, and I will see you on another one. Bye-bye.